Good morning, lovely souls. Happy Friday. It's week 3 of the Woodland Chronicles. Now, as you will probably all be aware, I didn't post last Friday, so week 2 is missing, but I'm going by the weeks of the year. And funnily enough, I'll tell you what happened. I was away having a break and I recorded the upload, but as I was recording it, I could feel that my energy and my connection was not at its utmost, meaning that I was recording with the intention of purely showing up, when in actual fact I knew I needed to be resting. I needed to be doing what I had actually set out to intend to do for the week. So over the course of this year, I may intermittently, if I'm guided to do so, just have a week out, and if I do so, I'll put a post up and it will be on my Facebook page. Please don't worry if it happens unexpectedly. I haven't been kidnapped by aliens or kind of dissolved into another dimensional space, as tempting though that may be. I will be here again the following week, and as you can see, it's a beautiful crispy morning here. I think it's about -3 down in the woods. I've got some hot coffee. I'm just kind of mulling over the happenings on the Ascension pathway, and we walked into 2023 with high expectations. We do this every year, thinking, right, okay, that old energy, it's past, it's gone, you know, it's so last year. And January started very, very intensely. It's almost the way to describe it, and you've heard me use this analogy before, would be a pot of water, not a metal pot, a glass pot. Stick the pot in the microwave and apply heat and radiation to it, and the molecules of the water vibrate, and as they vibrate they become hotter and they move faster, and they tend to release anything that is not kind of in harmony with the purity of the molecule itself. And that's very much what's been happening to us. We received this incredible, and I mean, the words fail to fully describe the intensity of the light that came in at the solstice at the end of last year. And we do it every single year. We do it every equinox. We use the moons as kind of our training ground. Every full moon we receive and integrate new light, new frequencies, new codings, and also the Lion's Gate is an incredibly powerful gateway, but nothing compares to what we experienced at the end of 2022 as we walked through the gateway. As for those of you that have missed my previous videos, we got toothpaste tubed into one frequency platform or bandwidth. So we had all previously these 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D consciousnesses all mixed in with each other, all kind of trying to live in a state of flux and attempted harmony for a decade, since 2012. And of course that decade, that 10 years, has been incredibly valuable training ground for you and I and all of the others on the light path, but it's also been a foundation building period where the blocks or the bricks or the kind of the golden concrete flooring has been set in place for our shift from 3D to 5D. So looking at it from that perspective, it's the end of the first part of the year, the first part of our shift, and now we've entered into the second half, and it has come upon us so quickly. I've heard many different conversations, even from people who would not usually regard this kind of subject as worth speaking about, talking about the passage of time and how the passage of time no longer seems to have any relevance to its previous, you know, you'd look at the clock and it'd be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd go about whatever you are doing, and the next time you look it's at 6 o'clock in the evening, or maybe even 7 or 8, and that period of time it's passed in a blink, whereas previously we'd be far more aware of the passage of time, and that is because time is no longer, it's not linear or set in the way that it used to be back in the third dimension, where we apply our attention and our point of focus to, that becomes our universe for that period of time. And within that universe, anything can be happening depending on the speed of our or the frequency of our own personal vibration. So we're going through these little time fluxes as we go along. I mean, I'm talking to you today, it's the 20th of January. Okay, now tomorrow we've got a new moon, and I believe it's in Aquarius. I'm sure if I'm wrong, somebody will point it out in the comments. I do rely on that, by the way. You know, if I get some information wrong when I'm speaking, I do actually appreciate the corrections. I don't sit here kind of like wriggling and taking it all personally. I know for a fact that when I'm speaking about astrology, that I'm not coming from a point of expertise. I like looking at astrology. I like looking at the charts. I'm very particularly interested in the passage of the heavens at the moment because of what it's revealing for the next phase for us. So tomorrow, it is the new moon, and of course I've planned a workshop for this event. I'm going to be over in the New Forest tomorrow and Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing those of you that are joining me over there very much. And day one is going to be about the practicalities of our ascension process, what we are going through, the things that I speak about on a regular basis. And Sunday is going to be a far deeper dive into the energies of Atlantis and the use of crystals. So the whole weekend it's going to be great, but I didn't realise that the first day would be held on a new moon. And let's face it, most of the time there's something special going on in the heavens, isn't there? But this particular new moon heralds also the forward moving transit of all of the planets. Like, we've had a lot of stuff in retrograde for quite a long period of time. When planets such as Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, I could go on, are in retrograde, we go through periods of cleansing, re-examining where we are and what we need to clear, and a lot of the times these periods are quite uncomfortable. And I must admit, the one that has just passed has been a cooking pot. And I think the full moon that we experienced a couple of weeks ago, the full moon in Cancer, kind of highlighted it. It highlighted how emotionally keyed in and invested we are into this new period of time, and how actually the energies are affecting us. And it was with that I decided last Friday that I wouldn't be posting updates, I wouldn't be answering emails. I just needed to take time to regenerate and to actually physically feel my battery levels recharging again. You know, like as the days go past and I'm focusing on things that I love doing. Although I love this job very much, all of you will be able to identify with the fact that when you are doing energy work, when you are applying yourself to planetary matters, when you have a responsibility to be bringing information through, it can become something that you need to recover from on a regular basis. So we're all looking at how we do that at the moment, and that's a little bit, this ties in with what I was speaking about in the first week, the nervous system, how our nervous systems have almost kind of squealed with horror at the quantity of the light coming in, this incredible deluge of I believe it's ninth dimensional light that came in kind of on a Christ consciousness platform on the winter solstice, the December solstice, and we integrated it, and all of us signed the contract to walk through that particular gateway into the second half of this ascension process, navigating a unified energy platform. So our adjustment to that is happening in quick time. Okay, we're not being given a period of grace to kind of integrate and get used to. We've had to use everything that we have in our toolbox straight away. And I've noticed many people stepping back, taking time to integrate, applying themselves to the things that matter the most to them. And in many ways, this is how we are going to be proceeding from now onwards. This is how we're going to go through 2023, 2024, 2025. We're going to be following our hearts. Most importantly, and what you will notice around you, is that the option for not following your heart has pretty much been removed. That door has been closed. So when I talked at the end of last year about this toothpaste tube effect, this combining of all of the consciousnesses of the energies into one field, and pushed through this kind of almost like the hot gates, the narrow gateway, into where we are now, the actual effect that's had on us is we've had to jump into our positions as fast as possible, and we've had years of training to assimilate this information, this energy, the downloads, the reintegration of the keys and the codes within our bodies and fields. And the most prominent thing, and this will be the theme forever now in our dimensional space, is the application of our daily life in harmony with the heart center. So of course, all around us we are seeing the effects of the ego in effect around the planet, and this is being highlighted. It's going to become more visible because we are more in tune with our hearts. I think that's an important thing to take note of. The more we can see, the more that we get shown, the more that we are privy to, the more that we notice, is always due to our levels of perception having changed and moved into alignment with the heart center. So we will always in our space be witness to ego. We will have our own egos. Okay, doesn't matter how enlightened we are, doesn't matter how many dimensional spaces we've moved up through, whether we've actually even we've transformed our bodies from physical to non-physical, as many of the ascended masters have many moons ago. That even the souls who serve the Intergalactic Council and the Board of Karma, if they've had time on Earth, they still will have an ego. It's a badge of honor that you receive when you come to Earth and you live under the conditions and in the space and the schooling curriculum that we've all applied ourselves to. So we're going to see this year a massive reflection of aspects of ourselves that still need to be healed, but also very much we're going to notice where the rest of the planet is in relation to personal levels of development, healing, vibration, frequency, the quantity of light that is contained within particular fields of energy. And that will be our guide as to where we need to go and what we need to do with the work on a personal and a planetary level. It's going to be so visible. You know, we will see something and our attention will be drawn to it. It will be highlighted in our consciousness, and we will know instinctively that is what we need to be applying ourselves to. And in many cases, a lot of this will be energy work that is, again, guided by our heart centers to hold light, send light, be a pillar of this higher frequency energy that we have committed ourselves to long enough, with enough stability for the rest of the world around us to catch up. So 2023 is going to be, as you know, I'm talking about it as if it is a new year, because it is still technically a new year. But very interestingly, I noticed many posts around the transition from 22 to 23 about how the actual true new year is the 1st of April. So back in, I don't know how many hundreds or maybe even thousands of years ago, the actual new year was celebrated on the 1st of April. And if you think about it logically, that's when it should be. It's when spring arrives, the life returns to the planet, the sun becomes stronger, the birds are singing, the animals are like they're mating, they're doing what they do. Everything comes back to life. And the celebration of the 1st of January was dedicated to the Roman god Janus, or Janus, however you pronounce it. And the depiction of this god, it was the face that faces in both directions, looking forwards and looking backwards. So it's a committed time of looking to create new habits and to let go of the old and to begin the new. So that became the concept of our new year. So technically speaking, we haven't really begun it yet, but what we have begun is this new period of energy that is incredibly powerful. So if, like me, you've been guided to stop and integrate, don't ever allow kind of the guilt to creep back in. It doesn't matter if you cancel sessions or work or the things that you've arranged to do. Make sure that you are serving the cup that you are. Now, if you imagine yourself as a cup, a golden goblet, say, and you are filled with beautiful high frequency light or liquid, as you put out over the course of your day, your week, your month, that golden goblet becomes depleted as you hand it out. And unless you replenish that, the goblet doesn't just refill itself. Yes, we go to sleep at night, but many of us are working so very hard at night time. When we leave the physical realm of planet Earth, we go off, and we could go to the astral, or we could go back to Saturn, or we could go to the learning planes of Sirius, and we could carry on our work. And when we return to our bodies in the morning, we don't really feel like we've actually regenerated, and if anything, some of us are waking up and feeling thoroughly depleted. So the focus of the attention excuse me, is currently on our physical day, our day and our night here, and how we can serve ourselves the best in order to be able to give everything that we possibly can to those around us, to the process. And I've got on the 6th of February coming up a Zoom that I'm going to be running, which is very much in theme with the one that Diana Cooper and I did last year in December, working with the Golden Robe and Lord Cthulhu, because many of us have actually handed the Golden Robe back and maybe were refused, okay, and actually told, like, I'm sorry, but you've still got more time to serve, or handed it back and then thought, well, maybe I should be doing more. The service of the way in which the Golden Robe participates with humanity has changed completely. We're now here as a support unit. So you and I and all of the others serving the light field are now creating a solid, stable base for other people to rise up into. We're no longer agreeing to take on this perpetual cycle of pain and karmic misery that many people are going through. That's something which will penultimately resolve itself as the frequencies change, they get higher, and we see the changes taking place. So I know also many of you will be focused upon what the baddies are doing at the moment, the baddies in Davos or the other implementations of the kind of the nefarious kind of matrix antics that are going on around the world. As I said before, don't worry about them. They are in a state of complete shock at the moment energetically, because they know that the period of time that they had to do what they needed to do is now over. So you may still see these changes or these collapses going on around us, but they do not work They will not work in the way that they were intended to or predicted to. They will penultimately serve the higher purpose on this world, which is to move into an enlightened, heart-centered, frequency-conscious community of souls all around the world. Now, this is also this kind of concept of when we believe that we will be a unified planet, that everybody be the same, we'll all think the same, we'll all act the same, we'll all speak the same, we'll all have the centralized currencies and all the rest of it. No, we won't. We will still hold on to the uniqueness that individualizes our places of birth and the unique and beautiful cultures of each individual place all around the world. That will never change. So don't be afraid of walking into this next phase and maybe losing what you have, because you won't. You will always retain that. Whatever you apply your attention to will always be part of your reality around you. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up this Friday edition. And just as a reminder for those of you that are coming to join me, I'll actually be heading over there later on this afternoon or this evening to set myself up. I'll be in Lymington in the New Forest for the whole of the weekend. It's going to be a beautiful event. Then on the 1st of February, I am beginning the World Tree series with my friend Lavisa Altorn, and we're going to be looking at the energies of the Norse gods of Yggdrasil and how this is actually really an integral part of our ascension process. Then on the 6th, I'm going to be working with Lord Katumi in the Golden Robe. So lots of exciting stuff coming up. And so sending you all so much love, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.